Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be a good one because I finally got my hands on a Latitude Method 2, and I'm going to run this side by side comparing it to the Latitude Method 1. Now for those of you who have watched my channel for any length of time, you know that last year I hunted out of the Method 1 for 80 plus hours. And at the end of the season, I contacted Latitude Outdoors, as I have every other company that I've messed with their saddles, and I gave them my feedback. I told them areas that I think would improve this saddle, and when they released the Method 2, I knew that they listened to their customers, because a lot of changes that were made on this saddle were changes that I personally had suggested, but I know other people had suggested as well. And so I was excited to get this guy in hand and actually give it a fair shake and see if the changes in fact made a difference. So again, what we're going to do is I'm just going to go over the Method 2 and just compare it side by side to the Method 1, and then we'll wrap up some initial thoughts on the changes for the Latitude Method 2. So the first thing you're going to notice is they have left the camouflage pattern and they went with a more neutral color scheme. You can see that right here. It looks like some grays, light browns, some tans, and so that will help blend in with a wider range of camouflage. To me, it's a non-issue. I wear solid scree pants. They're actually the same color as this gray right here, and so that will blend in well. But again, they just switched the color palette per their customer's request. I didn't request that, but obviously somebody did, and so they listened to their customers in that regards. When comparing the Method 2 up against the Method 1, Latitude made several changes to the Method 2 that were subtle, but yet you can see the reasoning behind why they did what they did. Case in point is both of these saddles, as well as their classical saddle, they have what they call their vertical support system. It basically is a webbing strap that connects the top piece of webbing to the bottom piece, okay? And what that does is it helps keep the saddle's form. It helps from this material bunching up on you. And on the Method 1, it was completely vertical and it worked, okay? But on the Method 2, what they did was they took that vertical support system and they angled it to match the contour and the angle of your backside as you're sitting in the tree. And so a little subtle change, but I can see the reasoning behind it. Another subtle change that they did was on the Method 1, you had your molly webbing straps, or loops, excuse me, molly webbing loops that came up here, but when you got to the lineman's belt, they stopped. Well, on the Method 2, they actually added a loop that goes beyond the lineman's loop. Okay, and the purpose of that is to get your dump pouch that much further on your hip. And so that will help for the guys that use dump pouches. Again, it's a subtle change, but a change that you will like when comparing these two saddles up against each other. Another little subtle change that they did was on the Method 1, on this bottom panel, they had a complete row of molly loops. Based on their own field staff testing and based on feedback, they found that that was completely unnecessary. They didn't do anything. As a matter of fact, when you had a dump pouch on this bottom panel, if you moved, it would just magnify the sway of that dump pouch. And so they have completely eliminated the molly loops on this bottom panel. When you would purchase the Method 1, you would have an option to go with a metal buckle or a metal-free option. Latitude was the first company to offer a metal-free saddle, and when I went to purchase this saddle, I defaulted to what I knew, which was a buckle, because I didn't understand how the metal-free waist belt worked, okay? I say that because the Method 2, the Method XL, and also their new classical saddle has eliminated the buckle altogether, and so all of the saddles now come with the metal-free option. And so I want to take just a moment and explain how this waist belt works. So what you have is you have your Sterling Oplux 8mm. It is fed through their patent pending containment sleeve. It comes out, and then they tie it together with some sort of friction hitch. I'm not too sure what this is. It works like a distal hitch, a Swabish hitch, a Prusik. Basically, if you want to adjust it, you can adjust it by one end. You put weight on it, it bites down. If you want to loosen it, you grab the opposite end and pull it. Okay, and so on the side that you want to adjust, it's marked with red heat shrink tubing. And so if I want to put this saddle on and I want to tighten it, I'll grab the red side and I'll just simply pull it, and that will tighten. Okay, if I want to loosen it, just pull the back side of that knot. Now, there's two ideas behind this waist belt system that are pretty significant. The first one is with buckle systems that are out there on the market. When you have dump pouches and you begin to walk a long distance, you'll notice they'll begin to loosen up and you have to reach down and tighten it. Well, because this is a friction hitch, when you go to tighten this, the more weight you have on it, the harder the bite is. And so it's not going to loosen up as you walk to your tree stand, no matter the weight that you have on it. So that's one benefit. The second benefit is when you tighten it up to where you want it, as far as how tight around your waist, you then, because of this patent pending containment sleeve, you can then pull it and you can shift it all the way to the side, either side, or you can keep it buckle on buckle or not on buckle. It's more comfortable if you just push this out of the way. It becomes non-cumbersome, and so it works very, very well. So again, it's a pretty unique, pretty slick waist belt system that they have on their saddles. Another option that you have on the Method 2, whereas you didn't have on the Method 1, are these two loops right here. Now these two loops accommodate the optional connecting straps. So Latitude Outdoors, if you follow them on Instagram, last year sometime they posted pictures of all of their prototypes, and in one of their prototypes, they started their prototypes in 2018, and in 2019 they released the Method 1 July of 2020. But in all of their prototypes, if you look at that picture, you can see that they had a prototype that had straps that were basically permanent, I believe, on one of their prototypes. And so they were already messing around with having straps that would connect the top panel to the bottom panel. They did not bring them out here, but now they're making them available as an option. And so just let's say you're a sitter and you want your profile like that. Well, you can connect the bottom panel to the top panel via those connecting straps, and you can pretty much set it right there. And that way, whenever you get to the tree, you can get in and you can pull it down, and it's going to stop it right where it's comfortable for you. Completely unnecessary, but for some, it might add just, you know, or not add, but take away an extra step. I haven't had any problems. I just get in and pull it down and it's done. But it's definitely just an option, and options are always good for the customers. Going from the Method 1 to the Method 2, you will notice that they have completely eliminated the oplux off of their bridge system. Now it's basically an AM steel bridge the entire way. It's girth hitched on one hip loop via this prusik, and then down here you got a continuous loop of AM steel that is attached to the hip loops via a prusik, and then it's also attached to the bridge via a prusik. Now this is a very common bridge that you see on a lot of saddles, and it works well. It's lighter than the oplux. I don't really have a preference. I like oplux. I like AM steel. This bridge here is 37 inches long. I measured it from hip loop or end to end, and so it's 37 inches. That's plenty for a bridge length. One thing that I'm going to do, I do on all of my AM steel loops, is I'll take this prusik and I'll turn it into a Swabish hitch. I just find that they break easier and they bite just as good. So again, they left the oplux and now it's complete AM steel. So Latitude Outdoors was the first saddle company to offer removable leg straps with their saddles. And I actually really, really like that. I wish all companies would do that. And the reason being is I just didn't use my leg straps all that often. Now when I'm one sticking, I definitely do, but I just wouldn't use my leg straps. But along with having removable leg straps, their system was an absolute bear to get on and off. The G-hook and the spring, and it's even difficult doing it like that. So it was just a bear to put on and off, especially if you were in the dark. But what they did was they completely changed that G-hook. They just made it significantly larger, and the opening is at least twice as big as what it is on the Method 1. And so now with ease you can pull that spring and just pop it on and off. And so it's a little change, but that's going to go a long, long way. They listened to their customers and they delivered, and a lot of people are going to be happy with the removable leg straps, and also how easy it is to get on and off now. Some of the changes that I like the most that they did going from the 1 to the 2 is they added 3 inches to the overall length of the Method 2. And so that does a couple things. One, it helps reach a larger body style, a larger waistband. But for me, what it does is it just puts my hip loops out past my pelvic bone that much further, an inch and a half on each side. And for me personally, I have found that the further out the hip loops are, the more comfortable the saddle becomes for me. And that's just my personal experience. And so I like that change. Two other things that they did was they extended the length of the reinforced hip loops. In my video that I did after the season, I just asked the question, why not? You can see on the Method 1, you can see that there's material that they could have extended those the hip loops and, you know, the reinforced part. And so sure enough, they added an inch or an inch and a quarter to the reinforced part of the hip loops. And what that does is now you just have more room to change the top pressure or the bottom pressure. And another thing they did was the Method 1 is pretty spongy, the reinforced part. And so they added a stronger core, which I think, in my experience, what it does is it helps break the prussic bite better than it does whenever it's a softer core. So the next two changes I will demonstrate with my saddle on. Previously on the Method 1, to take the bottom panel off the top, you would just slide it off of the plastic clip right here. And to put it on, you would just slide it through that little webbing loop and you would put it back on. And I got efficient with it. I didn't have any problems with it. I could do it in the dark. But now on the Method 2, they have went to a patent pending magnetic connection system. And then in addition to that, they have also added right here on the bottom panel thumb loops. And these things, even though it's just a thumb loop, they help out so much. So if I get connected right here and just say I'm ready to lean back, I just got connected. Basically what you do to adjust the saddle now is you put your thumbs in the loop and you just pull down and it releases off those straps and you lean back and you sit. If you're done and you want to stand up and pull it back up, you just grab that, you slide it up and the magnets find the place and it pulls it in like so. Again, thumbs in the thumb loop, pull it down however far you want. And then to bring it back up, you just lift it up and the magnets will pull it right back into place. Super, super slick, great idea. And it is the best connection system that we have seen on a 2-panel saddle system yet. So simple. Like so. All right, guys, one last thing, and then I'm going to wrap this review up. This is the box the Method 2 comes in. On the side, there is a code right here that you can scan with your phone, and it will take you right to the resources page on their website. So if you get this and you might have some questions, you know, how to tie the knot or cinch your belt down or whatever it might be, scan this code and it will take you right to the resources page, and it will kind of give you a jump start on finding that information. All right, guys, there you have it, a side-by-side comparison demonstrating the differences between the Method 1 and the Method 2. As you can see, Latitude Outdoors has listened to their customers, and they have taken the king of the 2 panels and they've made it even better, extending the length 3 inches, better leg straps, better connecting straps for the legs, reinforced hip loops, longer reinforced hip loops, Amstel bridge, magnetic connection system, an additional Molly loop, thumb holes. All of the things that I have mentioned have just made the Latitude Method 1 even better. And so if there's any questions that you have, something I might have missed, please just let me know in the comments below. If you haven't already, go ahead and like and subscribe. That helps me out. And keep your eyes open and peeled. I got several more saddles in house that I'm getting ready to do some reviews on. Also some other stuff from Genesis 3D printing, and so keep your eyes peeled for that stuff. Anyway, thanks for watching.